And if this be the day, may I acquit myself well, and face towards the evil while it drags me to hell. And if by chance I should fall by bullet or shell, may the people away be able to tell that I did not surrender nor turn from the fight, and that when I did die, I did not stay quiet, but faced with defiance, with eyes full of iron, and never did flinch when called to beyond.
I joined. I should have joined I could have joined at 17. That's what I should have done. And I kind of wasted my time and went to college. And I always wanted to go to the military.
I joined the United States Marine Corps because I wanted to do something out of the ordinary. I wanted to join an organization that was like none other, and that was well respected. Doesn't matter if you're an American, if you're one of our allies, or if you're an adversary. Everyone respects the United States Marines.
2010, I came 1-8 from 1-5. Pretty fresh from Afghan already.
So I was only 10 years old, but I knew I wanted to fight since 9/11, and I heard the Marine Corps would let me do that, so that's the route I went, right?
All the details of it, but I was on a rooftop and Stovall, he was up there with me, and we got shot at, and I had a saw with a 200 round box, he had a saw with a 200 round box, and we were up there, and the issue was we were in a lower area. This was on an elevated position, so we're essentially just fishing the barrel. Both of us just let loose with two saws, and they were almost alternating in the rate of fire, so it just sounded like this just stream of 400 bullets just slinging out. I can't remember who yelled it. I think it might have been Captain O'Brien. What the is going on up there? Like, what are you doing? You're wasting ammo, blah blah blah. Because what you haul in is what you have. America! They're shooting, and right as we're about to come, they're still shooting. We get shot at again, and then Corps just lets loose again at this spot. And the ball got rolling for how the rest of the day went, because we already had people on maneuvers. And some of the other videos and stuff that you can see that Carl took with a little bit more left. Oh, I can't remember. I've got faces. I can always remember faces, but names are the hardest things. Yep. That's one thing. It kind of bugs me, is because I can see your face, but names just don't come. And it's but these are people I've spent, so much time with, critical moments of my life with. The names just aren't there. No. Oh, damn.
Funny story that I think about, there's all this training and build up and hype about war, when I finally got to do my job in Afghanistan, I found my first IED, and that happened to be the day that I got shot at for the first time. And in that controlled chaos, we all looked at each other and we just started laughing, bullets flying and all that.
Hernandez was my first roommate. Him and Caleb Travis were my first roommates when I hit the fleet, and we were in those shitty barracks off A Street with the black mold that they were like, oh, just bleach it, you'll be okay.
And I was one of the machine gun squad leaders, which really didn't matter because over we deployed Musakela, and they give me a rifle squad. And I have never done any of that before. So, but the good thing is, I guess I was very flexible and I took everything that 1-2 told us to heart, including sweeping everywhere. And so I was very dynamic in how I employed my guys because I knew that everything was different.
We should have one coming in soon, I think. Oh shit, that's all around, dude.
There was a radio operator named Garza that came to us, and he joined our unit about halfway through the deployment. And we were pushing out through a town called Amikwazi, en route to Triple Nipple Hill, south, heading towards Sangin. And I told him, I said, I don't know you, but when we get up there, they're gonna shoot at us. We're gonna get some. He said, nah. You sure about that? I said, yeah. He said, I bet you $10 it won't happen. I said, okay. So we went up there, and our buddy Kevin found what I believe one of his first IEDs. It was a daisy chain. It was a big deal. Took a couple, flexi cuffed a couple people, and we started getting shot at, just like I said. And I remember running, jumping over a wall. I got just high enough that the weight of my kit would take me over the wall. I landed on my back. It was amazing because this old man that we flexi cuffed came right over the wall after me with his hands behind his back, flexi cuff. I'm probably gonna show my age, but I mean, it looked like some Free Willy shit. Like he jumped over the wall. And when I got down there, got myself together, and I realized I heard this guy hollering, and he was going, Doc, 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 like that. And I was like, fuck. He just got to our squad. He was new to the AO. And I was like, where are you hit? Where are you hit? And he goes, I owe you $10. And right then and there, I knew. I was like, I like this guy. He's a good dude. Yeah, we've been friends ever since.
For Staff Sergeant Green, I made it a point not to hang out with anybody. I guess I had just read With the Old Breed, and there was a segment in there where if they were going to do an operation with any a lot of casualties, they purposely didn't want to know the boots that came in, because when they got killed, it'd be a lot less mental pain for them. So I purposely didn't know people in 1-8 because I thought I was going to be like, I did that, or I didn't even know I'd go again. I had no idea what I was going to do, but yeah. So I never hung out with the other guys that often. I hung out with Whiskas a lot, but for Staff Sergeant Green, I never hung out with him, and he'd always invite us to ducks, and I never would go. And I remember he used to give me shit for that too, which makes sense. But I felt bad that I never went out to one of his invites, And I remember he told us his dream was to be a sergeant major in the Marine Corps. That was that's why he joined. And he was on the up and up. And after this, he'd probably go back to SOI or something and then further advance his career. But yeah, then he was killed. So
I got a hit. Go. I'm on the generator. Hey, there we are! Get the fuck back here! Watch this goddamn sector!
This is like a squat down and go through hole that somebody passed. America.
Excellent effects.
So I'll start with Staff Sergeant Ortiz. You know, we came in at a weird time where it was kind of the drawdown of Iraq. So our seniors, you know, didn't really see much in Iraq. So we had to look even further towards the senior leadership, the guys who came through like the initial invasion and everything, the 03, 04 guys. And that's who Staff Sergeant Ortiz was. I remember when I hit the fleet, he was one of the first guys I met. I had to go to the company office, and he was just a genuine, nice guy. But I think more than that, like outside of being a Marine, he was a father, he was a husband, he was very proud of his kids, you know. And even bigger, he loved God. One of the biggest things that stuck out with me was during deployment, him holding Bible study with us for the ones who wanted to do it. And that was really impactful for me, because there's so much other stuff could have been doing. And he decided, you know, now's a good time in the middle of Afghanistan to have a Bible study. And that was really, I think that speaks volumes on the type of person that he was, just even outside of the Marine Corps. Because everyone gets super focused on, oh, you know, they were Marine, this, that, and the third, but we're so much more outside of the military that our lives shouldn't be defined by just our service. And I think if Staff Sergeant Ortiz was still around today, he'd be doing so much more outside of the Marine Corps than he would have done inside the Marine Corps.
For sure. Now, it's interesting because, you know, you referenced the stuff with, you know, Iraq and the drawdown. I came in with a boot drop that actually had Staff Sergeant Ortiz as our instructor at SOY. And a lot of people had that kind of shared experience. And, you know, you talked about meeting him at the company office when you were there. I showed up at the company office and I saw Staff Sergeant Ortiz. I was like, hey, like, you know, like, what are you doing here? And he's like, you know, I'm here, you know, I'm part of Alpha Company. And that was such a cool experience because, you know, the guy's younger than you and I are now, but he was, and he will always have this place where like he was an elder. Like it was bizarre. when I actually learned his age when he passed, I was shocked because, like, to me, he was like this timeless guy that was like, you know, a high school football coach. Like, there's no age on that. He's this role, you know, and that was something. He was probably one of the most professional and ethically moral, like just solid guys that I probably met. Yeah. Hernandez and I really didn't know each other very much because there's so many guys in the Alpha Company. But I do remember the first time I really interacted with him was at CAX, because he and I were police calling, and Sergeant O'Connor was having us police call trash because, you know, we were boots, and he and I were side by side on that. And I'll let you take it from there, man.
So Hernandez was my first roommate. Him and Caleb Travis were my first roommates when I hit the fleet, and we were in those shitty barracks off A Street with the black mold that they were like, oh, just bleach it, you'll be okay. But Hernandez, I mean, really, boots stuck together, but Hernandez was always like a natural born leader. When you hit the fleet and you're very, I mean, not scared, but you're nervous. It's the unknown. He was there for a few weeks longer than I was, and he was helping me out right off the bat, because I think I hit the fleet, and the first day we immediately went to a field op. I was like, oh, you know what's going on, and he was there to like help me along, and we had a really close friendship ever since that point. He came up to my house in Pennsylvania for Easter that year, went fishing, and we always just done stuff together, that group of guys that we had. But me and Hernandez hung out a lot.
Letters from Children in America, Philadelphia. Holidays happy. Dear hero. Alright, this is MTV's Pimp My Hooch, Cribs. Beautiful trash can. Parking lot. The housewife, maid. We have Jack the Ripper on the right.
Oh, fuck, Centipede don't want none. Come on, get out there, pussy.
Versus El Nino.
He's like, get out there.
Bench with a rock garden. Ever so gently. So you don't mess up the gear rack.
Make sure you get the sign, David. Sign.
Corporal Perry, Lance Corporal Hoppier. It's the E4 and Below Club.
This is Barnes' camera. Barnes' rifle. Barnes' cigarettes. This is Barnes.
Stop Barnes.
This is the reason why. Oh, he's going back! Oh! He's like,
All tour. This is my water. This is my fridge. This is a hot ass tent.
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
These motherfuckers are monsters, yo. Shit.
Oh, his legs fucked up a scorpion.
oh shit, look, he has a fucking hole in his back or
He's
some
bleeding,
shit.
yo.
Shelf. Foot powder and hot sauce together. Good shit.
Good nights.
We don't have running water, but there's water bottles. Got my chem lights right here. My ungrateful squad. Look at this dispersion.
Welcome to hell! Woo!
I got a random handset that doesn't work. This is my closet. Goddamn camis that haven't been washed in a month. And a towel that hasn't been washed in a month either.
What fucking day are you taking videos of me?
Some dirty underwear. Goddamn, that stinks. That does stink. This is a nice little hot fridge rack. It's my box. Dairy shakes. Gotta have dairy shakes. My ammo can full of socks.
Fuck, that's it if he just fucking get him. Come on, Jack.
Oh, shit.
Come on, Jack.
Yo, dude, he's got his
done.
injector thing in him.
Dude, got it in his ass, man.
They're both dead.
Dude, they're 69 in right now.
Best action we'll ever see.
They're both
Did you hear that explosion?
Yeah. Somebody screaming too. Fuck, I'm on cue too.
I'm Luke Wilburn. I served with Doc Conzo in 2nd Platoon 4th Squad on our first deployment shortly before he passed. One of my fond memories is, unfortunately, after he passed, but shortly after he did pass, we had a deck of his cards that he had left with us, and we decided to play some poker with it, and we opened them up, and it was a deck of, I can't remember what kind of deck it's called, but it was just nines to aces, and we ended up playing a couple hands with that, and everybody was throwing down huge hands, and we were like, what is going on? And then we took a look, and there it was, a rigged deck that he played a joke on us with.
It's dark. It's cold. It's pouring out. And I am stuck on the roof of Patrol Base Gonzo. Right, it's PP Gonzo. Get ready to get relieved by third squad. I'm dreaming of a sandy river, just like the Afghan. Ding, 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 dong, ding, dong. Please stop filming me.
They're on the front.
Alright, we're gonna kill some other suckers.
I'll show you get out of my way.
Hey, when I say fire, you fire all the way around. There you go.
Letters from children, America, Philadelphia. Holidays happy. Dear hero, I like. Love Matt. Thank you, Matt. Hello, my name is Aribar. From 206, I live in Philadelphia. Happy holidays, thank you. Today is Thursday.
Hang on to!
Happy holidays. Dear soldier. Happy holidays. I hope you have fun with your job. Thank you for having this job. I go to John Hancock School, and I live in Philadelphia. Your job is #1. You obviously do not know who the fuck you're talking about.
Fire!
Just cover us right back here.
Hey, Corman Cruising, how does it feel to finally do your job?
Got a boner.
Yes, yes, you are #1. Happy holidays, P.S. Happy holidays. Alright.
Letters, listen right.
Hi. Oh, he's getting them. He did do it. Wait till you see the video when he got Garza, dude. He straight up was like low crawling up to the post to get him, dude. Shit, dude.
It's like warming up.
He's just touching him. Oh, he took his rifle. He took his motherfucking rifle. Oh, man. Burning some shit right now. That's gonna start stirring it up. I guess it's too boiling. Oh, yeah.
Most perfect rainbow.
All right, it is recording.
This right here is gonna be the best.
Oh, he smacked himself in the head with it. See it again. Take 2. Oh, no. It's recorded, though.
Heard his thud on the wall. I was like, God. I knew it was coming because he just kept kicking it over and over, and then I was like, here it comes.
Hey, you see? Hey! That compound right there! Right to the left!
Fire here. We slave, get wood for it. Imagine that. Not very much wood in the desert.
This firewood is brought to you by 2 thumbs.
What does it mean to be a corpsman? What is a Navy corpsman? A lot of people think medic. We're more than that. You take an oath to your Marines that you have to prove and you have to live by day. Something that they know that whenever you go down range, you're always going to be there as long as you're alive. It didn't hit me until before we stepped off, and you have the fathers, the mothers, the wives, brothers and sisters that say, take care of my son, take care of my brother, take care of my husband. Doesn't seem like much, but what a hell of a responsibility. And I'll be damned if I'm not going to rise to the occasion. That's what a Navy corpsman is. Something that you don't realize until you're there. That when things go wrong and people get hurt, before they call to mom, before they call to God, they call to Doc. And I'll be goddamned if I'm not going to rise to that occasion. I'm either going to die on the way to you, we're going to die together, or we're going to make sure that they are the only people that are dying today.
Holy shit! Fuck, was it really? Let's go, kid! Get the fuck over here!
That's what a Navy corpsman is.
Hey!
Never out to fight. Never alone. Put everyone before yourself. That's what a Navy corpsman is. That's what Doc Gonzalez was, my senior. The one that taught me how to be a doc. Semper Fi Marines.
Joined the Marine Corps in 2011. Went through boot camp, got to SOI later that year, and was inevitably assigned to 1-8 Bravo Company. I was weapons. I was an assaultman, so I was in the weapons platoon of Bravo. And actually, coincidentally, that entire first workup, I got there in late August, early September-ish timeframe, if I remember correctly, and we deployed in January. So pretty short turnaround for me. The workup was obviously extremely busy, field ops and all the pre-deployment training and stuff that you have to do out in California. It was crazy. I turned 18 in boot camp. I turned 19 in Afghanistan, and I mean, these were like some of my early, formidable years of being an adult and being on my own. And I was just surrounded by a solid group of dudes. And I actually knew of Gino and Hogan in passing because I was assigned to 3rd Platoon, actually. that entire workup. So all the third platoon dudes, or who I knew in the line platoons, I knew better. Obviously, we would do company formations and stuff, so I knew them in passing. But being a brand new guy, I really kind of just stayed to my group. So fast forward through all that stuff. Coincidentally, Brandon Moore, no relation, was in First Platoon. He actually deployed with my brother in on their first deployment and 1-2 together, which was kind of weird. But we get to Camp Leatherneck in late January of 2012, and like one of our first, maybe the first week or two, we're still doing all that admin logistical stuff, and we do a, if I remember correctly, I think it was a company formation, and after we break out, my platoon sergeant at the time calls me up. We had already detached to our line platoons. We were getting ready to go out to wherever we were going to be at in our fobs and stuff. And they call me up and they go, "Hey, sorry, man, there's been like either someone got moved around. I don't remember exactly what the reason was, but I got moved to First Platoon. So other than the other weapons guys in my platoon, I didn't know anybody other than just a little bit of training we did together." So that was kind of a getting your world turned upside down already, being around a bunch of dudes I didn't know. And I eventually was assigned to First Squad, which was Gino and Hogan's squad. So that's really where I first met him. Hogan, it was his first deployment. We were boots together. And Gino was on his second. I believe he went on I don't know if he was with 1A on his first deployment or not. I honestly don't recall.
He was.
I think he was. Yep. Okay, I think it was Alpha, right?
So he had been in Alpha, and there had been a bit of a shakeup, and he got moved from Alpha over to a different company. I believe he might have gone straight to Bravo. He might have gone somewhere else. It's all the details are hazy, but he had a lot of friends in Alpha because he had been in Alpha. And he was close to like Gino was a character that everybody kind of knew because Gino is a nickname. Everybody knows Gino. It's like an Italian thing. Everybody knows of a guy named Gino in movies. Yeah, go on. You're good.
Yeah. So he was one of the senior guys, and I got put in Brandon's squad at the time. He was a team leader, so I got put in his team. He was first team, and Gino was actually the team leader for second team. Hogan and I were in Brandon's team together, and Collins and a few other guys, Matry. That was kind of like our boot group, if you will. And so yeah, I mean, we unfortunately had to hit the ground running. Brandon, knowing my brother, I think kind of took to me more so than the other guys did, because there was a little bit of a relationship there. Not that he even really knew me that much, but it ended up working out. And man, those guys just took me in. I just recall the first interaction I had with Hogan was, just a younger dude, married. At the time, I wasn't married yet, and my fondest memories of him with us being on, because we were on the same fire team, so we would rotate post and patrol days together. So we'd always stand post together, and we have walkie-talkies that we could communicate with. And we'd always just be sitting up on post talking about all the shit we were gonna do when we got back. And his wife was back home waiting for him, and he was excited for me to meet her, and all of us were gonna get together and hang out, and that was gonna be the plan when we got back. And man, we just sit on that radio for hours on end, just talking about all kinds of shit, if you can imagine, just ready to get back. Believe it or not, that entire deployment was very surprising. Those first few months were very quiet. I mean, we obviously getting prepared. We were like, adrenaline rush every time we'd step out of the wire, and just so much, not even anxiety in the meaning of, just anxious, waiting for something to happen. And then it went on month after month after month, nothing. And although it wasn't that kinetic, man, we really started bonding closer and closer. And us being boots, we kind of stood to ourselves. But the more we got out there, the more we got a little more experience underneath us. Even though it wasn't in firefights, our seniors didn't treat us any different. Obviously, it wasn't our fault that the Taliban wasn't out there, shooting at us every time we left the wire. But man, Gino and I really developed a really close relationship, and it was kind of cool because I felt like the little brother that was like getting to hang out with the cool kids because he was a senior. And we didn't have it that bad off. I mean, we did our normal boot shit, but I mean, they didn't treat us too terribly. And we had squad hooches, and Brandon's family, he had a lot of people from Texas, so I mean, he'd get like, it was funny because we both had the same last name. So on mail days, they'd be like, more, and I'd get super excited. And it was always freaking Brandon. I'm like, God dang it, man. Like, anyways, he'd get like 8 packages of mail drop from all of his friends and family and stuff, which was pretty cool. So he always shared it with us. And our squad was super tight, man. We would, one of the good memories outside of playing baseball in the FOB, which I sent you one of the pictures of us posted up out there, would be we would watch the Jersey Shore. We had a DVD, the whole season series on a computer. Man, we were dudes from all over the place. Like Brandon was a good old country boy from Texas, and I was from North Carolina, and Gino was obviously from up north of Maryland, I believe, and Hogan was a cowboy and all this good stuff. And dude, we all, for some reason, just sat around and watched Jersey Shore like all the time. And man, it was actually leading up to the op. I don't know how in depth. I won't go super in depth with what about all that. I mean, I think you guys will pretty much all get one of those what happened out there. But man, they say things aren't coincidences. Is when really I started paying attention to. I being the low man on the totem pole, again, being brand new to the platoon, there was actually a tasking that got pushed out probably 2 or 3 months before we were set to leave. They needed bodies at White House for post. Obviously I was way out of that decision-making process of where I was at, but eventually it was decided I was going to go with another guy. So I think each platoon had to provide 2 people. So we got sent up to a company FOB, which at first was, excuse my language, fucking stick, because we were getting premium chow hall, gym was so much better, internet, showers, internet more frequently. So it sucked because we had to stand 8 hours to post, but pros and cons, I guess. And so I got sent there, and I was there for probably about a month and a half, and then we had like a mobile MWR, which like those the internet trucks that would drive around, and I guess they had stopped at our FOB, the first platoon's FOB, and I saw Gino was online, so I'm like messaging him, hey man, what's up? Like I hadn't really had any contact with those dudes since I left, and this was on my first Facebook, and I'm so mad at myself for deleting it, but several years later I ended up deleting that Facebook for other reasons, and then not to fast forward too much, but all those conversations are gone. But I remember him telling me, he's like, hey man, like they're talking about us up, and it's like, dude, we don't know a whole lot. They're just like whispers about it. And at the time, for us new guys, us boots, and op was like guaranteed contact, like they're gonna, you're getting it. And I've never said this publicly, but man, I was so naive back then. Like I wanted it so bad, because the coveted car. Like if you're an infantryman and you don't come back with a car, like you're nothing. And right, wrong, or indifferent. That obviously, now that I've matured and realized what it took for me to get that, obviously I would give anything in the world to go back and leave my years of service with no combat action ribbon, because that doesn't mean anything. But that was just how it was, man. I remember him telling me, he's like, yeah, man, we might be up for this op coming up in like a few weeks. I'm like, oh man, I was like, keep me updated. Like, all right, when am I coming back? Have you heard anything? Like, has a platoon leader said anything? Are they like trying to get me back? You know what? So a few weeks go by, don't really hear a lot about it. And I'm sure there's parts that I'm missing here, but they eventually get tasked like, hey, yeah, we're gonna go do this big push with 1-7 in Kali Agaz, which was closer to Sangin, if I recall correctly. And I don't know if it just so happens or it worked out that the company FOB released us. I don't know how it happened, but the freaking stars aligned, man, and we actually got to go, and man, I was freaking thrilled. Hindsight, especially, if I wouldn't have been there, man, I don't even. The difficulties that I've experienced being there, I can only imagine what it would have been like if I wouldn't have been there. As weird as that sounds, man, just being back with my brothers was awesome. It felt good. It felt like I was, back with my family because, coming from the type of family I came from, like, these were my family, man. These were my boys. And I wanted to be there when shit hit the fan. And from what we were being told, that it was going to be brutal. It was going to be legit. We were getting all the intel briefs as once they picked us up and we got there. We went and the FOB we were at, I don't recall what it was called or where it was at, but you may know more to it. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It was, I think it was called Operation Jaws 5, I believe it was.
Yeah. So let me. I'm gonna pause you real quick. So let me give you a little backstory about Operation Jaws. So what you guys went on. Have you heard of the Shark's Tooth?
No.
All right. So when your brother was with 1-2, he went to Musikela, right? Musikela or Nowzad?
Yep.
Okay. So
both sound familiar.
Okay. So do you know? All right. We ripped with 1-2 in 2010. I was on Advon, and we took over Northern Musikela from the company we were replacing. So 1-8 replaces 1-2. Your brother's there with more, unless it was before that. So if your brother was Afghanistan 2009, 2010, that time period, he was in either Musikela or Nowzad. That's the AO that 1-2 had. The Shark's Tooth is Musikela up in the northwest, down to Sangin down here, and Kajaki over here. It's shaped like a shark's tooth. It's a region called Zamindwar. And so Jaws was an operations box that was basically around that whole area that the command had set up to get operations approved. To do operations like the type we were doing, you had to have approval from on high. To get around this in a way that was like legitimate, they created Operation Jaws. Operation Jaws encompassed all the operations that we did. So the 13 operations that Alpha Company did on that deployment were all underneath Operation Jaws. Lots of people don't really understand how that all worked out because Operation Jaws is a folder, but subfolder, you have all these operations under it. So the operational area that we were working in, all those operations were called Jaws there.
I have pictures and videos of him. And there's one video that I definitely want to send. It's a funny video. I mean, I don't know if you want me to talk about it or not, but it's just
anything.
We had this kid. His last name was Boughton, and everybody called him Bobby. He's from Louisiana, but he did nothing. He brought duck calls with him, like hunting duck calls, and he would use these things all the time. Everybody hated him because didn't matter what time of the day. It could be him on post at 2 a.m. or something, and you'd hear his duck call going off. And one time we were like, oh, we should make a stupid video of Bobby using the duck call, and we'll have somebody dress up as a duck. Well, sure enough, I don't know how or where it came from, but somebody in the care package got a stupid hat that was a duck. It was like a duck head kind of thing. And our buddy Monty was like, let me put this thing on and we'll do a hunting video and you guys can shoot me. And the video is basically Bobby and Gino sitting in there like, you know, their perch, their tree stand, whatever. They're gonna go hunt a duck, and Bobby starts using the duck call, and here comes Monty flapping around like a duck, and then Gino pretends to shoot him. Monty fake dies, and I got that on video. But that's one of the funnier moments I remember with him. He was just always full laughs. Like, he was always down to have a good time, didn't matter what we were doing. That was on deployment, so it was like one of those things. Everybody's kind of loopy from, you know, not doing anything, and you just think of something stupid to pass the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll give you that video.
We're looking up. We can see the medevacs circling us. We just don't know why they're not landing. I still don't know what happened to this day. Excuse me. I have no idea if there was issues with air, or it was too hot for them to land, or I remember there being some talks about there weren't enough birds because 1-7 was calling in medevacs as well. No idea. I can't speak to that. But it took the birds an extremely long time, abnormally amount of long time to land than it typically did, in my understanding. With that being my first interaction with that stuff. So a good bit of time passed, and the bird finally comes in. I think it was PJ's on a Black Hawk. And I'm sitting up, I'm on the first corner closest to the front door, and the guy who had relieved Brandon came up there, and he was a machine gunner. And I can see this kind of mob of dudes come up to the front door, and they pop smoke, and they run out and secure an LZ. And Wilson's like, "Hey man, like peek over the side of the roof and, you know, the building and see what you can see." And the best and worst decision of my life. Best in being, I'm just glad that I got to see Gino one more time. And the worst, obviously, was the condition he was in when I saw him. But man, that was when reality really set in for us. This wasn't a game. There wasn't any respawning. You know, these bullets really hurt you, and it was. I didn't know a whole lot of what had transpired on that roof, but from what I saw, it just didn't look great. And to jump forward, you know, they never even told us the status of him until we got back from the rest of that operation. I'm sure that was a command decision, you know, keep our heads in the game, especially as that operation continued. It didn't get any easier. So they load him up, and he takes off. And I think one of Dyson, one of the other guys, had uploaded some gun runs and stuff of what was going on as soon as the bird took off. So I mean, you could, if that didn't really paint how chaotic the scene was, then you take a look at that video, and it kind of puts it into reality for you. And
Hey, is that us or them? Hey, helos? Yeah.
So that was day one. We were just like, if you could imagine us new guys, we were like, wow, you know, you go 5 months with literally not even a pop shot to this day one. And it was taxing. We were, you know, pop shots here and there throughout the day. That engagement lasted several hours, if I recall correctly. We were just like hammering the corpsman who worked on, like, hey man, like, what was he good? Like, what was going on when you left? And I could only imagine what kind of position that he was in. You know, obviously wanting to tell us, and maybe he didn't even know, but again, fate repeats itself, man, because the next day we were first squad, and we were up to patrol first, kind of push out and see if we had afflicted any casualties, you know, kind of do some intel collecting and stuff like that. And we had thought we had pinpointed where those rounds were fired that hit Gino, so we were going to go check that out. Again, could be way off, I'm not sure why, but Hogan and I always rotated the Thor, which I'm sure you know what the Thor was. I freaking hated that thing. So him and I would rotate point throughout the rest of the earlier patrols and stuff. And so he would patrol point a few, and then he would rotate on the Thor and back and forth, whatever. So because Gino was out, I don't know why. This is where a lot of, not really guilt, but just why did things play out like this? For whatever reason, it was decided I was going to take. I got Gino's gun. He was a team leader. He had an M4 203, which was awesome. But for whatever reason, I took that. I didn't take over the team. I didn't fill in his team leader position. But for whatever reason, we reorganized the squad before that patrol the next morning. I remember him being kind of down and out, understandably so, the night before, that morning before we stepped off. And so I usually would cruise around the front of the patrol, if not mid front. And for whatever reason, this day Hogan went to the back, and I kind of stayed up front with Gino's rifle, and we were stepping out. Hogan walks past me and he goes, I give him a fist bump. I'm like, hey man, I'll see you when we get back. We'll be good. And those were the last words I ever said to him. We stepped out, maybe not even 50 meters, 100 meters from the fob, and came to this first building. And we were on a brief security pause. We were talking to a guy in the house, and shortly after, we hear what we think is one shot, but it ended up being 3 synchronized shots. They hit Hogan in the head, and they double tapped an A&A, both of which were KIA immediately. And then that ensued another ambush as well. Like I said, we're not here to really, highlight the combat and stuff, and my views of the military and why we were there and what we were doing there. Obviously it changed from the years, but man, back then I would have done anything. All I wanted to do was be a Marine infantryman. I graduated school early. I missed my high school graduation to get there, and it was all for dudes like Gino and Hogan, man. It was to be around the guys that didn't know me. They took me in, they treated me as their own, and we bonded a friendship and brothership, honestly, man, that I will never be able to recreate. These were dudes that kept showing up, just good fucking dudes, man. I wish that I was more articulate and able to put it into words what these guys meant to me, their families, and all the guys that were with us, but they were just good dudes, man.
So Hogan's dad does a lot for veterans, nonprofits and whatnot, but he brought me out on a hunting trip, and my hunting partner was Gino's dad.
That's
and
awesome.
Our hunting guide, and our hunting guide was Hogan's dad, Steve, the one who put it all together anyway.
That's something.
So, dude, it was wild. It was
it's a small world.
Definitely. Like I said, I try to keep in contact with everybody who wants to stay in contact. It's just tough. Everybody lives their own life, and we all need each other still. It's just hard to come by sometimes.
It's weird. I have these friends that I had this reputation for being the coffee guy in the unit, and the first time I met Johnson, he called me Grimes, from in Black Hawk Down, there's the guy that does all the coffee, and that's what he's famous for. And it'd come out, guys like military movies and stuff like that. So I meet Johnson, and I quickly developed this reputation for being the coffee guy at the unit. And Johnson was like in the room next to me with Price, and every day before formation, people would line up at my door for coffee. And I made coffee for everybody. I loved it. I had like 30 coffee cups, and Johnson ended up taking one of my cups right before we left for block leave. I never got the cup back. But yeah, for a while it's funny. I thought he had said Grimes, not Grinds, and so I was like, "Oh, this is cool. This can be my nickname. I'll be Grimes." And so like I was like trying to write down stuff and have a journal while we were deployed, and I wrote down. I was like, "I'm Grimes. That's my nickname." But Johnson was the very first senior Marine I met in the fleet. They had just gotten back from the rifle range, and he pulls up right outside my door, and I walk out, and I'm like, "Hey, it's a senior Marine. It's the first one I'm gonna meet," because they were at the rifle range. So I walk out, and I'm like, "Hey, you need help with your bags?" And he's like, "Dude, what are you doing? Like what's going on?" And it's like, "Hey, you're back. I'm new. I'm John. I'm a boot. Like, you need help with your bags?" And he's like, "Sure, cool, but like that's not what we do here." And it was news to me, and we quickly became friends. And missed the guy. Really good guy. He was one of the really solid guys that we had in the unit. A weird thing about 1-8 is a ton of us actually came from SOI together. Talking to people about this different stuff, you don't really realize at the time, but most of us that were in kind of our generation that are involved in this all ended up in Delta coming at SOI, and OC was one of our guys. September 20th, 2010, OC was the actual, the first Marine of the deployment to fall. And he was there with us at SOI, and that was kind of a, wake-up call for all of us guys that, had known him and were there together.
I'd always wanted to join. And my parents said it started off when I was 3. I was walking the boardwalk in New Jersey, and I just turned around and said, "I'm gonna be a Marine someday." And then that was solidified about 7 years later, watching the attacks on 9/11. And then actually a couple weeks after 9/11, going up to the city for to go see the Rockettes, like it was our tradition. And we went past Ground Zero, and it was still freaking smoldering. And yeah, it was kind of set in after that. So there's a lot of guys I ended up losing my vision of my legs due to some stomach issues from the deployment and from the barracks. And I'm still here. We're all still here. We've all been given a second chance. Some of us, 3, 4, 5 chances. We've all had our close calls, but we're still here. And I'm not fucking quitting. I hope nobody else does. It's not worth it. We can't keep our brothers' memories if we're not here to share them. So every day I get up, I do the best I can. I do more than some, less than others. I'm still involved in the firehouse I was a part of since I was 14. Can't answer the calls, but I could still help the guys get ready for the calls. And then I've been doing a lot with the Marine Corps League. At least what we started to do is we got some young guys, and we're just making it a mission to raise money to help out, especially the reservists in the area, because they don't have the funding. So, staying busy with briefing the young guys in the area, young guys and girls, what their benefits are when they get out, and then helping set them up for success upon getting out. And then we're trying to mentor some kids into going into either the emergency service route or into the military, helping them with mindset before they get in and longevity once they're there. We were down North Carolina, work up for the second deployment. Me and the boys are team leaders. So it's a lot less stress on you, I guess, day to day. You're not really worried about messing up. And we had some downtime, and we kept sending our junior guys to go try to attack Steve Sutton, one of the biggest dudes in the company. So we just kept throwing our junior Marines at him, like just sending them in waves, like it was like a full frontal warfare. And I just remember him just holding a kid by his camis, just tossing between the walls in Mountown. And then, just little things like that, man. Just hard training followed by just laughing for hours watching the dumbest little things. I can tell you the moment it happened. The moment we were, so that was, Sutton was a mortarman assigned to Charlie Company, and he was tasked out with First Platoon for the operation. And Doc Warren was a corpsman in First Platoon. Yeah, the dates are. I try not to remember the dates, unfortunately. But we were in a small engagement with snipers. I believe we shot a fucking javelin at one or two guys, so that was pretty cool. We went down to go do a VDA, and we were told to come back up as we were getting down to the area. And as we got up to the top of the hill, we heard what I recall was someone calling it a 9-line. And they had called it in for 2 alphas and 2 kilos. And I didn't know what a kilo was. And as a former radio operator for the platoon, you would think I would know all the radio shit. Except I didn't know that one. And I remember looking over at Brant. He was my VC. And he was a guy from 1-2. And as I asked him, I knew, you know what I mean? I knew right away. And being in the mobile platoon, it was mostly old weapons guys. So that night, I remember trying to get out there, trying to get the truck out there to go do what we could do, whether it was secure the scene or whatever the follow-on was. And we couldn't, man. It was getting dark. I feel like I definitely still feel like I fucking failed getting out to the site. It was dark. It was muddy. I wasn't the best driver, so I don't know who the fuck thought it was a good idea to make me one of the company leads. But just the night, man, the guys, that's seeing the strongest men I've ever met. Just not doing great, just waiting for the next day for the sun to come up to see if we could throw some rounds down range. And that hurts the most, man, is just remembering the guys that I always looked up to just hurting. You know? And then the next morning we woke up first thing in the morning to push out there to, you know, see what we could do. And 8 roads turned into 1. I called it back. Said we have to push. Took the 1 road and ended up in a terrible position. There was a bridge in between 2 houses that, you know, once you got to the other side of the bridge, there was a big open field off to the right. Sun was coming up. It looked like a perfect spot for a complex ambush. And saw 3 little rocks. I mean, dude, I shouldn't have seen it. I was so hyper-focused. And I blew up my truck trying to get over to where we had to go. So it just fucking delayed us more. You know, eventually they show up, take away my mine roller, get back in the truck, get behind tanks, and Team Tank cleared a path for us to get down there. We let EOD do some sensitive site exploitation, and I believe, I can't be certain that this is true, I believe this is what I heard. And we might have lost two great guys, 2 huge assets inside that compound, but the intelligence gathered from that compound, I believe, was something that they had only thought about. It wasn't anything that they had actually definitively found until they made entry into that compound. So as much as it sucks that we lost guys, I like to think that them being in that position helped hopefully save some Marines, infantry, and EOD further down the road.
I remember being down there, and it was like one of the bigger gunfights we were in, and like we were like maneuvering out with that small little patrol that we did, and Perry was moving up to help us out because we were getting pretty well pushed down. I think you were with me. I think I normally took you out, but
yeah, was that the time we got to shoot the mortars?
no, that was that whole movement down south.
Oh wait, I think I remember that.
That's the day we all almost got lit up by machine gun fire.
Yes, yeah, that's the same day we shot mortars. Then, yeah, because I specifically remember almost getting shot like 10 times in a second.
Third question. Give a life update. Where you're at now. What you got going on with your life?
Yeah, so now I'm a full-time police officer. I got back into law enforcement after I got out of the Marine Corps, but been a police officer for 6 years. I currently work in a city in Haverhill, Massachusetts. Pretty busy department. I'm married to the same girl, Janelle, my wife, that I was with when I joined the Marine Corps. My daughter Mackenzie's 12. I had her on my second deployment, so I missed her birth and all that because I was on my second deployment in Afghanistan. But she's doing good now. I own a house in Flagstaff, New Hampshire. I own a camp up here in Ossipee. My life has been pretty good. I had nothing really to complain about. And I tell everybody this all the time. I said the Marine Corps was probably one of the best decisions I made. Just one, the service, but two, the benefits and stuff when you get out. I'm supposed to complete my master's degree. I'll be done with that in probably January. I'll have my master's in criminal justice, but that's all been paid for by the United States government. So, and they've been paying me. So, for me, the Marine Corps is the best thing that I've done.
No. So I got out. I got medically separated in 2017. We moved to Tennessee in June of that year. I started college immediately. Ended up going to nursing school, and then COVID hit. So I went to nursing school through COVID, graduated, and now I work in the ICU at one of our local hospitals. And I think the biggest accomplishment for me is my family. Obviously, I have a beautiful wife who we've been married now. In November, it'll be 10 years. And then my 3 kids. To me, that's the biggest accomplishment that I have in my life right now, and probably will ever be, other than, my kids. I just want my kids also to have a close relationship with God. I think that's the most important thing I can give my kids. That's the most important thing that we can give anybody, is to foster a relationship with God. But I definitely, my biggest accomplishment in life is my family.
All right, boys. Well, it's good to see you all. Super, I don't think I've seen you since I left 1-8 in 2013, man.
Yeah. It's been a long time, dude, but I'll tell you right now, looking at you on this screen and seeing you, man, it takes me back like that immediately. I'm glad you're doing good, and it's good to see you, man.
Good seeing you too, man. It really makes my heart shine, man. You really were like the positive spirit, I'd say, of the squad, man.
I wouldn't have traded any of y'all for anything, man.
And now, got out of the Marine Corps. I am now a United States Air Force pilot. Been in for 12 years, going on 20. Got a good family. Yeah, I'm just doing good all around.
I could get into more stories on Deep Dive. I was told to keep this one kind of short, so I'll do so.
Hey,
man, be safe out
nice
there.
to see you guys. Fucking, we'll definitely do this. Thanks, dude. We'll do this offline as well. It was nice catching up with you guys, and hope to talk soon, man. I gotta go plug bullet holes and shit in Kensington, Philadelphia. My ambulance. It's gonna be a great night.
Hey, brother.
Just be safe.
All right, love you guys. See you.
Short little thing. I'm in Cheyenne. If anybody ever comes up to Wyoming, you're more than welcome to stay at the house.
Like I was saying earlier, like going through what we went through together, we need each other. We need each other in our darkest moments.
Hey guys, Gunny Bain here, was with Alpha 1-8, aka Bain or the Gunny. Just wanted to say hello out there to all the 1-8 guys. I was the company gunny of Alpha Company. Good old America call sign for Musa Kayla. I think we still use America for the second deployment. Able and then America. Yeah, it was Able and America. So as the company gunny, as you guys all know, we were the hate and discontent. We were the guys that did the thankless job, I could say, getting up early in the morning, going to bed late at night, delivering the chow, the bullets, the band-aids, make sure the ranges were locked on, all the training sites were good to go, busting everybody out, all the behind the scene coordination to make your guys' training and deployments a lot better experience and a lot less stressful for you guys to conduct. I was asked to give, ironically, me out of all people, to give a couple good lightning stories, try to add a little humor to this. The first one, let's talk about the time that we first met. I was Bravo Company Weapons Platoon Sergeant for about a couple months. Gunny Lichtenstein was over at Alpha Company. He went over to the S4 because of some knee issues. And the first meeting, we had 2 young lieutenants that were in charge. And I said, hey, we're going to have a little introduction. It's going to be gunny time with the Marines. I don't want no staff, no officers there. I think a lot of guys remember this. We're right there by the trailers in the quad. Brought everybody in. Sure as shit, I get a lieutenant freaking butter bar shining in my eye. Hey, sir, get the fuck out of here. You guys all brought it in. And the famous 1, 2, 3 pop occurred. Brought up the ears, bend at the waist. 1, 2, 3. You guys all came up. Pop. Asked what happened. Crickets, crickets, crickets. Little Marine raises his hand. Hey, you, what happened? We just pulled our heads out of our ass, Gunny. And all this madness started. I think that was the perfect introduction because that made me smile. And the reason why it made me smile is later on in that deployment in Musa Kayla, I was out in the gym, little shit tent with some weights they had. And a couple sergeants were in there and they're like, hey, Gunny, remember that time you did 1, 2, 3 pop? And I was like, oh, yeah, I sure did. And they were like, yeah, we were pissed about that shit. I freaking lost it in that tent. I found that hilarious. And then I started thinking about a couple other ones. Let's see. I hated coffee. I hated delivering coffee. I hated drinking coffee. I hated everything about coffee. And we're up at Fort Pickett. And freaking you guys did something. I can't remember. You pissed me off. Did something stupid. And I was on the back of the damn Humvees and I just started telling the driver, I think it was it Razor at the time? I can't remember. But I was like, get the fucking go, just fucking go, get the fuck out of here. And old First Sergeant Robinson's high stepping, his knees are hitting his chin, trying to freaking catch me. And I'm dumping all the coffee out. I think he got 1 vat. But yeah, so much on the coffee. Now, for the icing on the cake, a lot of Marines didn't know about this one. I was known as the most powerful man of Musa Kayla. You want to talk about PSYOPs, right? We had Mount Musa Kayla behind Fab Habib. And I don't know, I was bored. So I printed off some pictures of some gnomes in a little salt factory, a little salt mine. And there's these little salt figurines, and they're all frozen. So I went to the Terps just to mess with the Terps. And I was like, tell me about these gnomes in the Musa Kayla district. And they're like, what is these gnomes? And I was like, well, we got reason to believe these little people that are about yay high are living up in Mount Musa Kayla. And every time we fly our UAVs over there, they freeze. So I showed them the picture of the salt mine. And they're like, oh, this ain't real. This ain't real. Well, the icing on the cake was I found a still image, black and white, all fuzzed out, of this like gnome crab walking across a dirt road. I think it was in Brazil. Anyways, I was like, well, then explain this. Our G-boss got this on Route Black. And they started yelling jinn, jinn, jinn. You know how superstitious they were. So they thought it was, I guess jinn is like the word for devil in the Quran or something like that. So I go to bed thinking nothing of it. The Terps are having escorts going back and forth. And freaking the next morning I wake up and good old Skipper old Captain Dan O'Brien freaking comes up and he's like, Gunny, what the fuck? And I'm like, what did I do now? What is it that I did this morning? I was like, I just woke up. And he's like, you know, I'm having a meeting with the ANA and the ANP, and here's freaking, we're trying to talk about patrols, and all they want to know is how Gunny got these pictures of these gnomes, and he must be the most powerful man in all Musa Kala. Lo and behold, about like a week, 2 weeks later, I didn't know how far this went. Gunny Lopez and Bravo Company gives me a call. He's like, hey, bro, what the fuck? I'm like, what, dude? He's like, hey, what's this shit about gnomes and like being the most powerful man of all Musa Kala? Dude, I still tell that story to people and they don't believe the shit. They don't believe nothing. But anyways, those are some little stories, some reminiscent of going back from my side of the house. Shit, I could go on about how I had Marines walk around singing or whistling the Seven Dwarfs, hi ho, and now Master Guns Rocco's comes running around and he's all pissed off because he thought the Marines were screwing around, and then he sees me standing over there and everybody leaves the Marines alone. So at the same time, you know, I guess I was a dick, I was an ass, but at the end of the day, I just wanted to let you guys know I tried to do as much as I possibly could to take care of the company. And I know we want to keep this short and sweet. So what I'm going to do, you know, I know I haven't told you guys, especially the Alpha 1-8 Marines, I was always proud of you guys. Everything that you did, you did it to the best of your ability. You stamped your name in history with what you did in Musa Kala and down in Sangin, Kajaki Dam area, and all that other stuff. The whole Shark Tooth AO for those two deployments, and I love you guys. And a lot of us don't say that often, but I really love you guys. I miss every single one of you. If we do a reunion, I know a lot of guys missed the one that Chun and a couple other guys put together in Montana. You got to get out there. There's things out there, they'll pay for it. That get it. I was driving up from Wyoming, and every exit I was going to turn around. I wasn't going to go. I was like, I'm not going to this. And I was going to turn around, and I just kept passing exits. And I finally made it to Montana. I'll tell you what, that was probably the best decision I ever made in my entire life, was catching up with guys. So if those things become available, please do everything that you can. Open up your schedule, make it out there. That's all I got. America 7, Able 7, signing off. Out. Awesome. All right, brother. Yep, you too. Take care.